Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Adrian Cuellar here. So, joining me today, I have a very special guest, also known as my cousin, Hugo Hernandez.
Round of applause, round of applause.
All right. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, David. No problem. Yeah, man, for sure. Thank you for having me.
Hey, you're welcome.
It's my sit down.
All right, guys. So, a little bit about my cousin Hugo. So, like I said already, he's my cousin. You know, he was born and raised in Sanger. Yeah, funny enough, he was actually one of the last kids born in Sanger, believe it or not. And yeah, he graduated from Fresno State or Fresno Pacific University. He got a scholarship from Sanger High, full ride scholarship actually, because he's really talented soccer player, one of the best soccer players I know personally. You know, and then he's always one of the people that I've looked up to, not only for sports wise, but mentality wise, character wise. He's the person that I look up to the most, besides my parents. He's one of the people that I look up to, when I try to learn like life lessons and stuff. You know, he helped me out with all of that. But yeah, that's a little bit about him. But I'll have him touch more base on his roots.
Thank you, I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. You know, like kind of just, and that's I think one of the things that one of the reasons I think a lot of people don't understand. I think a lot of people, misunderstand when I try my best to kind of succeed as much as I can in life. I don't do a lot for myself. I do it because a lot of people around me, a lot of people, in the community aren't used to seeing that success. You know, whether it's in sports, whether it's in life, whether it's in kind of just goes to show you kind of what I've been through and the things that have taken me to get to those places that I've been to and what I've succeeded in. Like, it's tough because I'm one of the oldest ones in the family, and I obviously that. So it's tough because when you don't have that reference point, it does get it is a bit of a struggle. It is a bit of a struggle when it comes to that, but that doesn't mean, you inspire me, our family inspires me, kids that I've coached, kids that I've been involved with, at a younger level. I want them to see that things are possible, and therefore that kind of is what pushes me and drives me to be the best person that I can be. And like I said, I'm not done yet. Not just in terms of soccer, but like you said, in terms of life.
Yeah,
I think there's so much more to life than. Success is basically what you define it. It's what you define it. If you can believe that you're as wealthy as possible with the most amount of money, that can determine you to be successful. You can be, starting a nonprofit but helping out, so many people without making any wealthy gains. That can also define success, right? So success is whatever you define it.
Yes.
I want to be successful in impacting the lives of others and people around me. That gives me joy, and like knowing that I help someone, knowing that I inspire someone, knowing that I keep inspiring people. That drives me to. That is my drive to want more and more and more for my own life, because I know that it's going to impact and influence people to want that for their own lives. So that's kind of where that mentality kind of derives from, and I'm glad that we're talking about that today.
Yeah, and like what he said, guys, I just want to touch base a little bit about what Hugo said. Like he said, success is based on how you see it. Don't think that just because there's people out there that are rich, that are billionaires, but they're still lonely. They feel sad, they feel unhappy with their life. But there's people out there that get $40,000 a year and they're successful. Why? Because they feel happy. They feel accomplished because of what they're doing. Kind of just like what you said. It's very important to, think in that way. Success is what you define it. That's really big. That's really big. I'm glad that you touched on that a little bit.
No, yeah, definitely. And then, actually, where do you say so?
Oh, yeah. Well, so you touched a little bit about, like he said, he's the oldest cousin in the family, so kind of like he has to set like that standard for us. Like he feels like he has to set that standard for us, So he's been through a lot, So a little bit about so what do you have to tell us about a little bit about your struggles, not only with soccer but just family-wise and all of that?
That's a good question. First of all, I think in terms of like struggle, it's inevitable. I think a lot of people assume that success comes because of like life's lucky enough to give some people like this blessed opportunity, which sometimes it can be, right? Sometimes things come along that you didn't expect and give you an opportunity to break through to another level of your life, another layer, another form of success that you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
But I think struggle is inevitable. I think that's one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that struggle is something that you're always gonna face, you're always gonna encounter, and I've learned to deal with that. And with that being said, one of the things that I'm glad, at least my parents taught me, our families taught me, is that a lot of people believe that life is supposed to be fair. life's supposed to be fair, you know, oh, life did this to me, which is understandable. So, you know, life happens to a lot of people, some harder than others, some easier than others. But everybody, with that being said, everybody has the obstacles that they face to get there, to get to where they want to get to. And I think without those struggles, though, you don't really value those successes when they happen, because I think from my perception, I feel like 98% of what you do is the struggle, the work, what you put in, you know, the extra work that you have to put in because you don't have the resources that a lot of other people do that, depending on where you come from. Yeah. And I feel like that 1 or 2% at the very end is the success. It's like you're fighting, at least for my life, that's been that way. Yeah. You know, I feel like, you know my family pretty well. I mean, my family doesn't come from riches. I mean, my dad got here from Mexico when he was 18. Yeah. My mom got here same thing when she was 16. So a lot of that, you know, it's coming to a country not knowing English, not knowing how to survive, and not knowing what you're walking into. Yeah. But somehow they've adapted to it, and that is always inspiring me. My parents aren't doctors. My parents are professionals. They're not, you know, these higher beings in society, but they're hardworking people that have got me to realize, you know, like if you have faith, if you have hope, you know, for them, in their vision, they're successful. In their vision, they're successful because back in Mexico, you know, like it was my dad worked for, you know, chump change, you know, to get back to his dad, so that they could obviously have enough to eat for the week, so that they have, you know, a roof over their head with wood built around them. You know, now my dad has his own house, my mom has their own house. They have cars, they're financially stable, you know, and I love that for them. So that's a form of success in itself, and I want to build off of that. But those struggles in life, in terms of my own, you know, I can talk a lot about them, but what I have to say about them is I think they're necessary. I think they are necessary. Yeah. Because if you don't deal with it, you don't value what you have. If you don't value what you have, there's no how can I say, there's no motivation to want more of that. Exactly. So in terms of my own struggles, I mean, I can talk about a lot. If you have like any particular ones you want to like know about, you know, mental struggles, physical struggles, what do you want to focus on first? So
you said a little bit about life being, you know, harder for others and easier for others. Right. Have you ever found yourself at a low point in life? And if so, what did you do to overcome those obstacles?
Low point in life, that's a very specific one. So I'll actually talk about one that I had and it was most recent, and it was actually very recently. It's actually about a little bit over a year ago. And this was and you know, it's gonna be funny the way I talk about it, but just hear me out here myself. So I think one of the lower points I found myself in life was and it was right after I graduated from college. Yeah. And that's actually funny to hear because like a lot of people think like, you know, you graduate from college, like how are you at a low point in life? And like I said, everybody has their own different way of viewing things when it comes to that struggle. So when I graduated from college, I felt like I climbed this mountain, right? Nobody in my bloodline at least has been, you know, successful enough to reach that top, and I'm glad I was able to reach it. And I still want to achieve more and keep climbing the mountain. However, and I'm not ashamed to talk about this. You know, after I graduated college, a lot of people will go, and I don't share this with a lot of people, but like I said, I have no problem really talking about it. Is so after I graduated college, I finished in college. That was a big phase, you know, of my life that really hit me home. It hit me right at home. I had just finished coaching at St. High School, so our season just finished, and I didn't have any more work because my job during college was a part-time job at the university. Yeah. So it was any money that I could make outside of practice. You know, luckily enough for me, I met someone at PU, my supervisor, and she allowed me to work, you know, in her office the hours I was able to as a student athlete. Yeah. Because she knew how busy my schedule was, and she'd give me a few bucks, you know. Luckily for me, she'd fill my hours as much as I can, and that gave me my money for the gas for the week, for food for the week. And but all those things in my life, those 4 aspects of my life, work, school, coaching, ball, all of those aspects of my life had just phased out. So now it's like I just graduated, and then at that time, you know, I had none of those things. On top of that, it went from feeling like I reached the top of the world to really feeling like I reached the pit of my life. Exactly, like rock bottom of my life. And I think it's a typical like college graduate thing. If you don't have something planned for afterward, and I don't know, I didn't. I couldn't find a job. Like I said, I just finished coaching. I was no longer playing at a high, like close to professional level that I was so used to playing. Yeah. And it was tough because like you're so used to those things, and kind of like we mentioned earlier, you don't realize how much you value something until it's gone, until that struggle comes. Yeah. And then after that, it was just kind of downhill for me. dude, I remember I would lay in bed until noon because I didn't want to get up. I was so motivated. On top of that, like, people probably say like, why don't you listen to your friends? Why don't you hang out with some people? Actually, a lot of people know this about me, but a lot of my friends were foreigners from the university because I played college ball with a lot of people from a lot of college athletes that I knew that I got to meet were foreigners. They were Brazilian, Spanish, German, Dutch. So I was blessed enough to meet people from other countries, and I still have those contacts, I still have those friends, which I'm blessed to have.
Yeah.
But once they left, it was like, hard. It was hard because I wasn't able to talk to someone that was able to relate to me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
All of my social friends that I was doing things for years with at the university, that was gone. So I didn't even have people to talk to much often. So I would lay in bed until noon. I would get up and go to the gym, and then I would try to apply for jobs. I'd go look for jobs, and nothing seemed to be working out.
Yeah.
And it was tough, but the one thing that I think I had a breaking point when I remember talking to my mom about this, and luckily enough, like I said, I'm blessed enough to have a wonderful family, like good people that have always been there to support me in those moments when I hit rock bottom, those moments when I reached the mountaintop of my life. And actually, one thing I was doing, like I said, I wasn't talking about it. I wasn't dealing with it. I wasn't facing the problem. I was just trying to see if I could find solutions on my own, and I couldn't. However, one of the things that mentally helped me was I remember one day I came home from work, and actually, luckily enough for me, I knew somebody that gave me a part-time job in ag safety.
Yeah.
And so I was doing that, and that was kind of like the beginning of. So I found a part-time job, luckily for me, and it wasn't even in my major. It wasn't even what I studied in, but it was a job.
Yeah.
It was a job, and I needed something at the time.
Yeah.
So I remember one day at that part-time job, I think I was kind of applying my stresses to the job, and I was finishing up everything as soon as I could. And I finished everything except for the day in the morning, and I didn't have anything else to do. And then I remember this rush of anxiety just hits me because I'm thinking about still where I am, where I want to be, where I was, and all of it's in your house.
Yeah.
And the mental struggle of that day was hit me like a brick wall. I started hyperventilating. I was breathing too hard. I felt like I had an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
I felt like I was losing air as I was trying to find something to do. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, I just told my boss, like, hey boss, like, I don't feel good. Like, can I, is it okay if I step out for the day and I'll work an extra 4 hours tomorrow if you want me to? And luckily enough, my boss was like, okay, like, no, don't worry about it. Did you finish everything? And I was like, yeah, I finished everything for the day, and I was looking for more stuff to do. Mm-hmm. He said, no, man, don't worry about it. Is everything all right? Go home. I was able to go home. Yeah. I remember this day that. And it's important to make sure that you express yourself. Express yourself, whether it's in the best way that you know how. Yeah. Some people aren't very good at that. I know I wasn't very good at that, so I got a little more practice with it. And when I got home, and I remember breaking down to my mom, and it wasn't even like I was emotional. It just, when I had so much going on that I didn't talk about, that I just started tearing from my eyes without wanting to. Mm-hmm. And then I told her about, I miss college ball, I miss my friends, I miss. I miss having a daily routine. I miss classes. I miss being so booked, being so busy. Yeah. And kind of just talking about it as it was kind of talking about it and facing it was the start. Acknowledging that was the problem. Yeah. And then afterwards, my mom just kind of reminded me to keep my faith in God and keep my faith in the things that I was doing. That there's always a better plan out there for me. But obviously, believing it is one thing, applying it is another. Yeah. And then so once I started applying it, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get my ass up and do something about this. I can't just sit around and expect for things to get better. Yeah. That's never been me. That's never been me. And I don't know why I let it. Maybe because I just expected things to eventually work out. I waited a little long, and then I started getting up, going to job sites. I started looking for teams to play on, and now at this point in my life, I'm blessed enough to be an academic advocate for St. Unified School District. I'm soon to be the president of a NorCal Premier League club. I'm playing again. I'm playing at a UPSL level, so the United States Pro Development League. So I was able to get to those. I was able to finally build my way out of those things, and it took a lot. It takes a lot from yourself, but it also takes certain influences around you to motivate you to find that strength within yourself. And I think that's the hardest part.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Off of what you said, some people don't know how to really express themselves, but it's important, guys, it's important to be able to do that because there's always going to be someone there for you, in this case, it was your mom, right? Yeah. So yeah, guys, there's always going to be someone there for you to help you. Don't feel that you got like you gotta hold in all of these like emotions. You know, you gotta let that out. Someone's always gonna be there for you. That's the main part. And you know, in this case, like I said, it was your mom. So you can't. Yeah, and especially, you know, for us, most people think, oh, men can't express their emotions, men can't do this. You know, that's a big, you know, misconception that society has of us. You know, oh no, men are tough, men can't do that. But yes, we can. You know, it's part of just being a human. Like we're not perfect. You know, so we got to be able to express ourselves just like everyone else. You know, there's no wrong in that. You know, yeah. So you've had a lot of struggle in your life that has helped you become a better person. But in your opinion, what would you say is the biggest cause of struggle for people?
Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, like I said, struggle is just a perception of what you believe is like struggle is an obstacle.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, you know, most people define it as like something that's preventing you, at least my definition is something that's preventing you from getting where you want to get to or where you need to be. And in terms of that, I feel like I've been blessed enough, and it's like ironically enough, I've been blessed enough to have a disadvantaged life. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is like kind of like how we mentioned a little bit before. My parents academically didn't have the knowledge to support me as much growing up.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I've always had to figure out how to do life, how to do homework, how to find a job, how to apply for college, a lot of that stuff is hard. And it's hard. And I'm not gonna say I did it on my own. I'm blessed enough to say that, you know, I was able to gain the right resources to get me to where I ended up. And it didn't happen overnight. I had to put in extra work. For example, one of my biggest struggles, ironically enough, you know, I'm blessed to have my bachelor's degree and I want to get into my master's. But I think one of the things a lot of people, I guess, choose to do is we choose to see before we believe. Mm-hmm. Like we choose to not believe something until we see it happen. Yeah. For me, I've never had that luxury. I've never had that luxury of like seeing something and then believing it to be true. Yeah. I didn't have much of that growing up. It was always like, in order for me to make things happen, I had to believe it before I saw it. Yeah. So like, I didn't see anybody out of my town or out of like my community get like a full ride scholarship to play college ball. You know, I didn't see that, but it didn't mean I couldn't believe it. Yeah. I love the game and I love what I did. Yeah. And I knew that I wanted to keep playing at a higher level. I wanted to play against the best of the best. Yeah. And I wanted to be able to apply that to my academics and be the first in my family to graduate from university. Mm-hmm. So, at least the first in my bloodline, you know. So, one of the things that I found to do is believe in things that I didn't know were possible. Yeah. Even if whether it was possible or not, I don't know. But I wasn't gonna know unless I tried. Mm-hmm. Right? So I remember having a conversation with my dad, and I was 14 years old, and I talked to him about it, and he kind of just told me like, you know, we talked real, and my dad's very grounded. My dad's life beat him up. You know, he comes from Mexico. You know, he comes here for better opportunity. He's a field worker. You know, he's worked the fields for I don't know how many years. Luckily, my dad's built up. He's got his class. You know, he's got his Class A license, and he's a driver now. He drives trailers, with his Class A license, and he's built up in life. And I'm very proud of him for doing so because he's a hardworking man. And that's what I aspire to be, hardworking. Yeah. And that's always been my drive. But with that being said, my dad told me, you know, at the end of the day, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm glad, you know, my dad's always been real with me in the things that he's told me. He kind of told me, you know, I'm not saying it's impossible. But look at where you are. Like look at where you are and look at the community you come from. You know, you're from a small town. Not a lot of people look at you. Not a lot of people are gonna look at this town. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people are gonna come here to see you. Yeah. So with that being said, you want it to happen, fucking make it happen. Okay? Yeah. I'm not gonna tell you can't do it, but I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna have to work at least 10 times as hard as the kids from rural communities that have that advantage point. Mm-hmm. Kids from, and no disrespect from those kids from those communities, but you know, the kids from those communities with more resources, from Clovis, from North Fresno, from those kids from those communities that have access to those universities, to those pathways. You don't have that. Yeah. You don't have that. He's always told me life isn't fair. Okay, put that in your brain right now. Life is not fucking fair. Yeah. Okay, deal with it. Exactly. You can complain about it or you can just think about it. Mm-hmm. So after then, he told me, I will support you and I'll help you. But you gotta know that you gotta be able to push beyond your limits to do this. Exactly. I told him I'm willing to do it. I want to do it, and that's what I want to do. And then after that, it was just more of okay, keep your feet grounded, but I'm gonna support you. But you gotta dig your way out of the ground into the sky to do that.
Yeah.
So after that, I knew that it was gonna take sacrifice. I wasn't gonna have the luxury of going to party with friends, going to hang out with friends as much. I knew what I wanted.
Yeah.
When you know what you want, there's nothing that you can let get in the way. Even if it's that, it's probably not possible.
Yeah.
You can't let it get in the way. You're never gonna know if it's possible unless you try it.
Exactly.
And luckily for me, like I said, that hard work did end up paying off. And the hard work on the field and off the field, the connections I made, the resources that I was able to gain because of those chances that I was able to take. Like, I didn't know if I was going to succeed or not.
Yeah.
This could have ended up the way it ended up with me getting a full ride scholarship, ending up with my bachelor's degree, playing at a near professional level, winning conference championships, winning, getting to an NCAA playoff matches in that regional section. But it could have ended up like that, the way it ended up, or it could have ended up with me looking dumb and me looking, like he did all this hard work for what?
Yeah.
I didn't know. But the point being said is that you can't, from my experience, you can't let people, you can't be afraid of judgment. You can't be afraid of what people are gonna say.
That's a big thing.
Because no matter what I've learned is people are gonna judge you no matter what. You can work your ass off and try and get to where you want to get to, and like, he's doing this for nothing. Or you can listen to what people say and not even try it out. But the point being said is, I think once I realized that allowed me to overcome the majority of my struggles in my life, because at that point, my life is what I make it, and my life is what I'm making it, and it's what I want it to continue to be, and that's where that's where my motivation derives from. And I hope other people see that. I hope other people realizing this shit is not impossible. There's things that I can do to better myself, and there's things that I can do to reach the goals that I want to reach. I just gotta make sure that these obstacles that come, they're just an illusion. Yeah. And I gotta face them. I gotta overcome them. At the end of the day, I think everything is resolvable with death. Yeah. So you can either spend your time complaining about it, and not that I'm saying struggles are hard. Obviously they're hard. Yeah. But the more time you spend focusing on the actual struggle, the less time you're gonna spend. How am I going to get out of the struggle, and how am I going to overcome this obstacle? Exactly.
Yeah, something I always say is there's two definitions of fear to me. Something I always tell myself is you either fear everything and run, or you face everything and rise. And in this case, you face everything and you rose to that level that you said you were going to get to. So, very important, guys, a very important point that Hugo touched on is, don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't make it, because the only one in this life that tells you how successful you're going to be in life is yourself. That's the biggest thing that people don't understand. People, like you said, some people are afraid of judgment, and guys, you guys got to understand that people always hate. People are always going to hate, regardless. If you're rich, people will hate. If you're poor, people will hate. Like it doesn't matter. But you can't let that get in the way of what the end goal is, what you want to be in life. And obviously, you didn't let that get in the way of you, and I admire that, because not many people can do that. Not many people have the strength to be thrown around, stomped on, all of that stuff, and get back up and rise like you have done. Right. So, that's great that you touched on that. I wanted everyone to know that. That's a very good point that you brought on.
And then another thing, if I can, I want to add is, I think a lot of people, not people, but I think society, our perception of failure is also misconceived a lot. Because people, failure is often perceived as, I'm a failure. I'm a bum. I'm a loser at life. I'm losing. I'm spending all my time failing. But if everything we did succeeded, like I said, not only the value, but you would understand, why it took so long to succeed. And I've realized this a lot in my life. I've had to fail 99 times to succeed that one time. That one time, to get that one. I've had to train 1,000 times, 2,000 times, train twice a week, every single day of the week to get that one opportunity. And it's not failure unless I think the only time you really fail is when you give up. Yes. You give up that hope, and you give up that one thing that you're striving for. All you need is one shot. And I feel as though society's perception of failure is they're a failure to life. And it's no, it's not that. Yeah. It's not that. Failures, you can either let them define you, or you can allow yourself to learn from them and keep moving forward. Yeah. But for me, there's no success if there's no failure.
Exactly. Yeah, because that's the biggest thing. Like you said, you have to be able to fail over and over and over again in order to be successful, because like you said, if you're already born successful or born into a good family, you will never learn, what that is, what that feels like. But, in this case, we both have had that, we're both athletes, we both have goals in life, but we don't give up,
Right.
and the point that you touched on, you're not a failure until, you're not considered a failure until you give up. But if you don't give up and you fail, that's not failing because you're continuing to work.
Right.
And another thing that you mentioned earlier is never ever give up hope, never give up faith in God, because He will always bring you up. I promise you, He will always bring you up. You just got to keep your faith up. You got to pray every night. I mean, I'm sure you pray every night. I pray every night. So it really helps you. It helps you get into another level. A connection with God is always good. In my opinion. For me. But yeah, you just gotta be able to connect in order to get to the next level. I feel like having faith has always put me in a good spot in life.
No, yeah, most definitely. And I mean, just like people don't think he's just saying that. No, I've lived through that, guys. And one of the obviously, along with playing at Pacific University, I also coach boys soccer at St. Matthews. I coach one of the assistant coaches of the boys varsity soccer team.
Yeah.
But one of the things I look back at is I have a great group of mentors. I have a great group of coaches that I'm blessed to work with. Alex Gutierrez, Manny Herrera, Sergio Gonzalez, Sergio Amander, Sebastian Padilla. All of them have a knowledge like no other and a different perception of the game. Yeah. But when I got recruited to coach at Shanghai, one of my goals was and one of the things Alex told me that I was bringing to the table was that you bring next level play. You bring things that you're learning at the college level, at the university level, at the NCAA level, back to our community and back to where you're from. And I wanted to do that eventually.
Yeah.
I just didn't expect it to be so soon. I was a sophomore in college when I got this coach. But my point to that being said is that my first year coaching, we had our ups and downs, but we were able to drive our way to our first Valley Championship, in the history of the town. So we're in that Valley Championship game, and I remember coaching through it. I was 19 years old, and I was trying to give the guys, pointers as a player of where to go, trying to give them all the answers. And same thing with the rest of us coaches. It was our first time being in that situation, and actually we ended up losing that game. We ended up losing that game in the penalty shootout. But we're thinking dude, we worked so freaking hard to get to that one point, and boom, right, all for it to end up in a failure.
Yeah.
And we could have easily just said we're not gonna get there yet. That was a once in a lifetime chance. That's the first time in school history that we'd ever made it there, that we'd ever driven there. And we were able to do that as coaches, but we weren't able to succeed in that moment that we needed to. The next year we come back, but we come back with this hunger, we come back with this motivation. And luckily for us, the players do as well. The players do as well because those juniors, those sophomores that lost that Valley Championship game, they're asking us, when the fuck are we going to train again? When the fuck are we going to play again? Because of that failure. Because of that failure, you gain that hunger. And I'm glad they took it as that, because they could have easily, we could have easily took it as man, we're not going to do that again. That was hard as it is. No, yeah, it was fucking hard.
Yeah.
But point is, it's possible.
Yes.
Point is, now we know it's possible.
Yeah.
Okay, so
you guys made it there the first time.
Exactly. So why can't we do it again? And why can't we succeed this time? Like we said earlier, you can give up on that hope and be like, oh fuck it, this is what it is, we can't do it anymore. Or we can get back later from our mistake.
Yeah.
So that next year, we actually not only do that, but we win the opening tournament at the Cope Science Tournament. We beat all the top D1 schools in the valley. And after that, it's a sign. A lot of people are saying, saying high school, man, they're not doing this year. They're, and it's not even people are who do they have? And it's a lot of people are saying, they don't have anything specific. They've got these dogs that are willing to work. These guys that are willing to work every single team.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what drove us. Because we know what the fuck we want.
Yeah.
And that's what we're gonna drive for. We win the first tournament at Clovis High School. We end up sweeping through league. We win the league in the final league. We won league. After that, we get not only are we back in the playoffs, we get the number one seed in the valley. Boom, we go game by game. We struggle to get by game by game, and boom, we're back in that moment again. And it's like I said, you can't worry about what other people are thinking of you. A lot of people are thinking, they're in Tom Ford Stadium. They're back in this moment again. Are they going to step up again? Yeah. And it's one of the messages for us and our players is don't focus on what other people are going to say. We're here to support you. The town's here to support you. Okay, we're doing it for ourselves. We're doing it for our program, and we're doing it for the town.
Yeah.
Those three things. We want to show people who we are, and we want to show them that things are possible.
Exactly.
Right? Because no one ever expected us to be in this position again. Boom. So we go into that Valley Championship game. Us as coaches, we're settled down. We're not happy just being there again. We want it all.
Yeah.
We want it all. So we're there motivating the players, clapping them up. Even if we miss a tackle, even if we miss a shot, hey, we're clapping it up. Every opportunity is a chance.
Exactly.
Boom. We put the first one in, and that game was ours. It was ours because we weren't afraid to fail. We were taking chances after chances after chances.
Yeah.
And we had the players that had the same mentality as well. And boom, we win that first Valley Championship game. And for me, it was like, dude, I started bawling. I started crying because it was like,
it was emotional because you have played in that position before, and you know, you weren't, but you didn't get that far to that level. But coming back and coaching, getting to that level, it must be very emotional.
No, yeah, it was. And like I said, growing up, I love my community. Growing up in my community, I know that success isn't something that we're used to. So
Yeah.
seeing the smile on people's faces, seeing all the kids watching the game, you know, making them love the game even more.
Yeah.
Seeing my players, you know, some of the players actually, not only did I coach, but I actually played with some of them that were seniors.
Yeah.
My senior year, they were freshmen.
Yeah.
So like Luis Vegas, Freddy Bautista, a lot of those guys were freshmen my senior year.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually ended up playing with Luis, and like I ended up playing with and coaching him.
Yeah.
So that Valley Championship, and then not only that, but that drove us to want even more.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up making it to our first. So we ended up making it to not only the program's first, but Senior High's first ever state championship match,
Mm-hmm.
and we ended up winning that match as well.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I remember learning from that is that we had an opportunity to do something again for the very first time.
Exactly.
And it was like when you have the chance like that, when you have the chance to do something like that again, you don't often get that chance to do something again for the first time.
Yeah.
So at that point, you know what you've learned from, you know what it's taking you to get there, and you know what you want to do. Once you know what you want to do, there's nothing that you can allow to get in your way. And that's one of the struggles that we're talking about, like one of those failures those setbacks that ended up leading to one of my successes as a coach.
Yeah.
Same thing with Fresno Pacific. Kind of like a long story short, but another version of that. When I was at Fresno Pacific University, actually, we ended up getting second place in conference my sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up just missing first place by a match. We lost our conference match to Azusa Pacific University, the second to last match in the league, and they ended up taking the conference.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 years later, it's my senior year. It's COVID season. Season, right? So it was a bunch of obstacles and a bunch of things going on at the time. So all the seniors, we were sophomores at the time when we lost the conference title.
Yeah.
And we remember sitting at that one game. However, it's COVID season. A lot of people were saying, it's COVID season. Like not a lot of people were taking it this serious, and it's like in our heads we're like, dude, if they're not prepared, they're not prepared.
Yeah.
We're gonna prepare ourselves.
Yeah.
We're gonna stay ready, and we're gonna stay. We want that opportunity again because we want that conference championship.
Mm-hmm.
And we're training through COVID. Obviously with all of the with following all the regulations, right, that were set at the time, because we had to be very strict, we had to get tested, we had to wear masks at certain times, all those obstacles, all those struggles that we had to face at the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like, oh, it's like COVID season, no one's gonna take it that serious. It's like, no, for us, it's like, if you don't take it serious, that's your fault.
Yeah.
That's your fault.
Yeah.
We know what we want, we know what we want to get to, and we know the work it's gonna take for us to get to that point. If you're not ready for us, you're not ready for us.
Yeah.
Okay? And if you're not ready for me, you're not ready for me. And that's the way you gotta perceive life, is that just because you failed in that one instance doesn't mean that it's over with. It just means that you gotta learn from that, because you can reapply it and try and get to that place again.
Yeah.
Okay? Just making sure, even if you fail, after failure, after failure, after failure, after failure, learn from each and one of those failures. As long as you're learning from them, you will succeed.
Yeah.
You will eventually succeed.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's like Tom says when he invented the light bulb. I think he felt like 1,000 times before he actually invented the light bulb.
Yeah.
And the first time he invented it was the 1,000th the first time.
Exactly.
Okay, imagine failing 1,000 times just
to get
that one
light
time
bulb to like turn on.
Right, but I think part of our lives, we don't. One of my players actually told me this. He told me, we're not here to live forever. We can't live forever, but I'm here to create something that does, and it's a legacy in life, and that's something that you want to leave behind with the people that you care about, with something that means something to you.
Yeah. Like a legacy, like you said, and also like you said, touching back on the playoffs, you lose that one time, you get back to that moment the second year, that takes a lot, because a lot of people, and I'm sure those players were already talented, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but when you're talented, hard work beats talent. When talent doesn't work hard, that's a big thing. Because talent is only going to take you so far. You have to work hard to, be able to overcome that obstacle. Because, once you get to a certain level, people will start catching up to you if you start letting your ego get the best of you, you know?
Right.
So, you know, it's a really big thing. You know, you got to stay humble regardless of where you're at. And, you know, they could have, like you said, they could have easily said, oh no, like we failed, like we're not going to try again. But they failed at that level and they didn't let their ego get the best of them, because at that level, you could easily say, oh no, we made it to that level, like we're not, like we don't have to go there again anymore. Like we already made it there, like it's fine. But, you know, they kept working hard for that. And that's a good character trait to have, you know, to be able to work hard.
Yeah,
in that instance.
Yeah, and I think like just to add on to that, like kind of like I told you, I think my whole life is driving around that. Like a lot of people, and I think, and I appreciate you telling me that I'm very like talented in what I do. But even at that, like believe it or not, I don't consider myself talented in what I do. I just consider myself like every player that I've come across, like whether they're from our community, whether they're from not, I've always seen myself as a player like I want to outwork you. Yeah, because I know I'm not as talented as you. Like I know that I don't have the full play. Like if I was only based off of talent, I would definitely want to play college ball. Because the thing is that there were more talented kids than me growing up, even from our community. Like Sanger's a very well-known community for soccer, and it's because of the Mexican heritage, because of the Hispanic community. It's a very big sport, obviously. Yeah. And with that being said, I saw a lot of players with more talent than me growing up. I saw, and I'm not gonna go and name them all, but there's so many more players that I saw that were talented, that were my age, that were older than me, that were younger than me. Like, dude, you have this talent, but like, whenever I came across them, or whenever I came training with them or playing with them, my mindset has always been, I'm not as talented as most people, but my drive to work, because I've always had to work, has always been there. Exactly. So I know I'm not more talented than you. But I know for a fact that I'm gonna outwork you. You're not gonna outwork me. Exactly. Whether it's suicides, whether it's touching the ball, whether it's getting out there an hour early, like I promise you, I will outwork you. And you being more talented than me is just more of a motivation for me to get better. Exactly. Because I want to get better and better and better. Not better than you, but better to help the team. Yeah. Right? Better to contribute to our team, because at the end of the day, soccer is a team sport. Yeah. And then I think that kind of contributes to like who I am as a person in society. I want to get better and better and better. Not for me, not to be wealthy, successful, or whatever. You know, get these luxuries and riches and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But because I want to help others. Yeah. I want to help my team. I want to help my community. I want to help the kids in the area that want to play soccer. I want to help the kids in the area that want to be successful. I want to help people that want to achieve certain things, that we all want to achieve the same thing. Yeah. Whether it's that happiness, whether it's those grades, as an academic advocate that I do, whether it's reach a college level for those kids in soccer that I coach, whatever it may be. Yeah. Like, I think that's always been me as a person. Like I've always wanted to work hard, not just for myself. Obviously for me, I think I deserve that credit that I've worked for, but not only for me. I want to be able to distribute that knowledge that I've gained through my experiences.
Yeah, across like the community, right? And I feel like we have like that same knowledge, because you want to help your community. Like you became a coach for soccer, and luckily I was blessed enough to become a coach for Sanger West, but for the running community, and. I know we have a lot of soccer players here, but we also have a lot of runners here that love to run. That's a big sport on the come up too. We weren't really people don't really pay attention, but until I want to say like my senior year, that's when people really started paying attention to. Oh shoot, like Sanger has a great track team, a great cross country team, like a great program. So I was blessed enough to have that opportunity to be able to coach at Sanger West. Because I want to help people grow. Like you said, you want to help people grow, and I want the same, for my community too, because, like as a runner, you get those things when you grow up, but then, you want to give back to your community, Yeah. So that's a big part, and that's always good, to always remember where you came from, don't ever forget that this is your town, I'm not embarrassed of Sanger, I'm not embarrassed, I love being, raised in Sanger, born in Sanger, born in Fresno, but it's still, in Sanger, right? So, I genuinely love being part of this community. There's no embarrassment there, and I'm sure you feel the same way.
Most definitely. And then I think it's important, kind of like how you talked about how you've grown as a person. I think it's also important. One of the things that I think people think is one of the things that I never really want to do is settle with who I am. Yeah, I always want to, because just as much as you want to teach people to grow, I also want to keep growing myself. Yeah, as a soccer player, as a person, as an educator, whatever I do in life, whether even if one day I decide, maybe I decided my own business one day, whatever it may be. Right? I always want to go from a business aspect, from a marketing aspect. You always want to push yourself to be the best, very best version of yourself.
Best version, always.
Like you always, if you view life like, oh, this guy has more than me, which is that guy, you're never gonna be happy. You're never gonna be happy. You're never gonna value the things that you have. And you're never really gonna push with that same motivation. You always have to think, and I love, this is one of the reasons I love Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, but he was one of the, he wasn't a soccer player. I'm a soccer guy, but he wasn't a soccer player. Mm-hmm. But I love Kobe's Mamba mentality in the sense that he defined it. I remember he defined it in an interview, and he said that they asked him, what's the Mamba mentality? And everybody expected this like crazy freaking response. It's this, it's that, it's this. There's no set criteria. One of the thing that Kobe responds, and I love the response, is the Mamba mentality is basically, I gotta be better today than I was yesterday, and that always has to be a thing. And I'm a big believer in that. And if that's why I keep applying the things that I do to my life. Kind of like even after this, like I'm gonna go to UPSL training because I'm thinking, I haven't stopped playing. I haven't stopped playing because, like, in terms from a coaching aspect, I think in order to be the very best coach that I can be, I have to be the best player that I can be. I play at the highest level that I can for the longest that I can. Because there's only value in that. I'm gonna learn, like I did from college ball. I'm gonna learn from the UPSL level. Whether I get signed to another team or not, I'm not playing to play pro. I'm playing because I love to play. I'm playing because I love to learn. I'm playing because I want to keep playing and being the best version of myself. Same thing as an educator. I'm already, I'm thinking about applying for master's programs already. Nobody in my family has ever done a master's program, but I mean, screw it. Like I said, I have to believe in I have to believe it before I see it. That's always been me. And I always want to play. Again, it's because I want to push myself to be the very best version of myself. Whether it's a struggle or not, I don't care. Like I'm used to it. I'm used to the struggle, and I find beauty in the struggle. Because if you don't find beauty in the struggle, if you don't find happiness in those moments, you're never really gonna feel that, why it's worth, or what the purpose of doing what you're doing is.
Like accomplished in a way.
Accomplished not even just yourself, but like for your life.
For your life.
For your own sake. You gotta be. Happiness is important. You gotta be able to make sure that you do the things that you want to do, aside from just thinking about everybody else as well. Obviously, it's important to give back. It's important to do the things that you love. It's important to help other people. But also, you can't be telling people, that, like this is the key to being happy. This is the key to being happy if you're not happy yourself. And again, it takes a while to learn that. It takes a while to learn that. I've been blessed to have people, help me realize that. Whether it's my family, my girlfriend, my teammates, coaches. I've come across amazing people. But in saying that, it's not because. It's not because how can I say it? It's not because I've looked for it. It's because I've genuinely been open to learning myself, and in being open to learning, it's allowed me to see the good in people and see those opportunities and see that growth. And kind of progress myself, piggyback off the people that I look up to.
That's a big thing. Well, you've talked a lot about the struggles that you've had and how you've grown from it. So I actually had something else to ask you. It was so, can struggle ever be considered like a positive or desirable experience? And if so, why?
I don't know if struggle is ever desirable, but struggle is definitely, I'm gonna say it. You said desirable. What was the other word? Positive. I think oftentimes we're not gonna see it as positive, but I think we have to do our very best to try and see it as positive. You have to. If you only see it as a negative, you're gonna lose hope. You're gonna lose hope.
Exactly.
You're gonna lose motivation, and you're gonna stay stuck in that one place. And you can stay but the beauty in that though is you can stay stuck for as long as you want to. Right. Obviously, something comes up. I've along with just struggles and obstacles. I've lost people. A lot of people don't know. I actually lost a very close friend of mine when I was 14. And however, obviously it's hard to find beauty in that. You lose people. That's just so life is. But that also, would I rather have my friend back, or would I rather have would I have them back? Obviously, I'd rather have my friend back. Like we grew up together. We built a history together. We were very close. I told him everything, and then it went from 0 to 100. He was gone in an instant. And with that being said, though. It's hard to find the beauty in that, It's hard, and it's hard to find the desirable parts in that because nobody ever wants to feel that way. But with that being said, I remember seeing the change in me. I started acting out a little bit my freshman year, to my parents, to friends, just kind of being a dick in a way sometimes, and not because that's who I am, but because I was just finding out how to cope with it.
Like going through a lot.
Exactly. So I didn't know how to express myself. Then we go back to that. I didn't know how to express myself at the time. I was 14 years old. I was a young boy. And I was a young man, and my dad, would, me being kind of, that kind of macho thing that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
It's like, boys are never supposed to cry, express themselves. But luckily for me, I didn't have parents that, were supportive in that.
Yeah.
And, but also, like, supportive can also mean, it doesn't always mean gentle or nice. Sometimes supportive means constructive, and, you need to know this. So I remember my dad sat me down one day, and kind of like, I forgot what it is. And I honestly forgot what the action was, and my mom was pissed at me, I know my dad was pissed at me, and he sat me down, I was like tearing up, and he told me, I know you miss your family. I know you do. I can see it in your eyes, and I know you do. And my dad told me himself, I lost my best friend growing up. I lost my very best friend in life. Drama. And, but with that being said, obviously I want him back.
Yeah.
I can complain all I want, I can rant all I want about how much I want him back.
Yeah.
And I know you're dealing with the same thing. But do you really think your friend would want to see you like this? Would want to see you blaming the world? Would want to see you, not wanting to move on with your life? Now, staying stuck in this phase of just ranting, complaining, and this and that.
Yeah.
Obviously, he understood my hurting at the time. How much I was hurting, how much it meant to me. But another thing that he told me was that, I think this moment in your life, you can realize something is that that life doesn't last forever.
Yeah.
And just as easy as we gain somebody, we lose somebody.
Yeah.
And I think that was a turning point in my life where I became grateful for almost everything.
Exactly.
Like people, opportunities, things, and that allowed me to be more open to people. That allowed me to be more, grateful for the people that I have every day, family, friends, co-workers, everybody in life, because you just never really know.
Yeah.
So again, that wasn't desirable, but I had to find the positive in that. And you have to do your best to find the positive in those aspects. Because it's always a struggle. I don't. If someone asks something tonight, I'll talk about that experience. But it's a struggle to look back at, and obviously, we touch back to what I said earlier. Would I rather have him, or would I rather have the experience, or the lesson that I learned? Obviously, I'd rather have him. But there's so much value that I learned that experience. Now, there's not a day that goes by where I don't tell my mom, my dad that I love them, my brother, my sister that I love them. Close family friends that I love them, my girlfriend that I love her. Coaches and coworkers that I appreciate them. Try and show my appreciation in every way that I can. Not that I go praise everybody that I meet, but I at least have to show some appreciation, because you never just really know.
Yeah, you never know what someone's going through in life.
Exactly, and just as easy as you show that appreciation, you never know the difference it's gonna make. Yeah. You can easily be the difference between someone ending it and someone keeping it.
Yeah.
And that always makes a difference. There's never enough love that you can spread.
Yeah.
So spread as much as you can, as much as you're comfortable with sharing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's completely true. One of the things that I have in my bio, is tomorrow isn't promised. So make the best out of today. That's something that I have in my bio. So I'm a big believer that you gotta appreciate everything that you have, because life flashes in an instant. You don't know when life's gonna get taken away from you. Like, you have to appreciate every single second that you have alive. Because like I said, like, tomorrow isn't promised. Make and appreciate the best out of today.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because the one thing that you don't get a second chance at is life. You're born, you live, and you die. That's the way of life. At the end of the day, that's the way of life. That's the cycle. One thing that you can escape in life, one thing that you absolutely cannot escape in life is death. People are afraid of that, but there's no need to be afraid of that. You gotta live in the moment, cherish every moment that you have with your family, friends, teachers, coaches, whatever it may be. And a lot of people, they're just afraid.
Yeah, most definitely. And most definitely, I think one of the things that's kind of just is kind of like you said, we're born, we live, and we die. But it's in what we live that we have to make sure that we make the very most of. Because at the end of the day, it's kind of like what we're saying. Life has its own little example. It's kind of what we're saying. Everything has a start and an end point. But it's what you do on the way that matters most.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of that saying, it's the journey, not the destination.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Obviously, and going back to all the things that we kind of talked about, those defining moments in our lives, and whether it's me giving an example, me getting signed to a 4-year university, at the NCAA level, a lot of people see that publicly. Yeah. And I remember saying, seeing released on the press. I remember the Fresno P covered it. They interviewed me. How I felt, this and that, going into it, but. no one ever really sees the journey. The journey always is, you gotta find the beauty in it, you gotta make the best of it towards what's most purposeful to your life.
Yeah.
Right? Every struggle along the way is meant to shape you for your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Oftentimes, finding your purpose is more important than finding a job or a career. You know, it's more important than finding, you know, the status quo that people expect you to live.
Yeah.
It's the key source of your happiness.
Yeah.
Right? The most important thing in life is obviously, for me, it's not to be rich, it's not to be, you know, this baller, it's not to be this and that. For me, the biggest thing in life, the most important thing is that you're happy.
Exactly.
Is that you're happy. And whether you're happy as a billionaire or whether you're happy as, you know, being a rich poor, whatever it is, you know, the most important thing in your life is to be happy.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're not happy, then what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the point of doing what? Yeah. Exactly. You can't do something and not find joy in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you're constantly learning that, and like the journey never stops. The journey always continues to build and grow and grow, and it grows you as a person.
Yeah.
Until, you know, the very last day of your life, you want to be on your deathbed saying, I have no regrets towards the life that I lived, towards the things that I contributed to, and towards the purpose I live for. Mm-hmm. You gotta be able to say that, you know, before you meet God, before you know, enter whatever kingdom you're gonna enter, or wherever you're gonna go in life, or wherever you're gonna go beyond this life. Yeah. You know, you gotta be ready for that. And that's my biggest thing. You know, even if, kind of like you said in the past, even if you make a mistake, even if you fucked up at certain times in life, you gotta, you know, the past is the past, and you gotta be willing to make up for those things. Yeah. You gotta be willing to climb your way out of those situations. However it is that you do it, you know, whatever works for you. Not what works for everybody else is gonna work for you.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone has their own like path in life, you know.
Exactly. Like what works for me might not work for you. Like for example, like me, like for example, you know, kind of like let's say, I don't know, what works for me doesn't work for my girlfriend. I'm gonna put that as an example. Yeah. You know, she's a person that when life hits her, she organizes stuff. You know, she likes to rearrange, make sure that everything is organized, everything's set to be where it's at. I'm more of a person that's like, if I'm mentally stressed out about something, if I'm like, you know, I'm not finding something that's to my liking, if I'm angry, if I'm mad, I'm upset, whatever negative feeling that I'm feeling at the time, my instant kind of instinct is to go to the gym. Go to the gym or go to the field. Yeah. Because I'm an athlete, you know, I'm a soccer player. That's where I feel most purposeful. Yeah. That's where I feel most important. Mm-hmm. Like I'm working out, you know, I'm an athlete. Like dang, most people see me as the athlete, but I also see myself as like, you know, I've also seen myself as like growing up. Obviously, there's more to me. Yeah. There's more to me. There's more to me than just the athlete, but that's where I've always felt most purposeful.
Like safe.
Yeah.
That's like your safe space.
Exactly. Even if it's just going to the field and just sitting down and looking at the field. Yeah. Like, I've always just felt most comfortable there, and that's always been like, you know, my home go-to. So, but like you said, like what works for me is not gonna work for everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, since we're athletes, you know, we can relate in a way. I mean, you go to the field, that's your safe spot. Yeah. For me, I go take a run. You know, when I feel those emotions, like that's my safe place. I love to run. You know. Yeah. So, you know, that's my way of, you know, coping with like certain things. If I get angry, you know, frustrated, certain things, you know, I go for a run. You know, take a walk, whatever.
No, most definitely.
Yeah. So the last question that I have for you, so that we can wrap it up here, is so. You seem to be, you know, coping really good with your struggles in life and everything that you've said, you know. So what advice would you give someone else who is currently struggling with a difficult situation?
One of the biggest things, at least, that I would say, and it kind of obviously, you know, I'll summarize the kind of the things that we talked about, but the one thing that I think we haven't mentioned is don't lose hope. Don't lose hope. No matter what hope you're clinging onto, you have to believe in something. Whether it's God, whether it's your family, whether it's your friends, whether it's, you know, some higher form of being, no matter what it is that you believe in, with all my respects, you know, with people with different religions, with different perspectives, whatever it is that you believe in, don't lose hope. Like, don't lose faith in the things that you have faith in, because the moment that you lose faith and hope, that's when you really give up. Yeah. So, no matter what it is, I know that life at times may seem not even just hard, it may seem impossible at times. Mm-hmm. It may seem like there's no way out. It may seem that there's no path to a better life, or to this success, or to this happiness that I'm supposed to supposedly feel. Right? It may seem like that, but don't lose hope. But also don't wait for something to happen. Yeah. Be the hero of your own story. Don't wait for someone to come save you. Don't do something about it. And back to what we said earlier, even if you fail and you get up and you try again, and you get up and you try again, and you try again, and you try again, learn from those failures until you climb your way out. And once you climb your way out, don't stop. Don't stop. Keep going, keep going, keep going until you reach the mountaintop. And even at that, keep setting your own limits. Keep setting your own limits, because at the end of the day, let's say if you reach the limit above everybody else that you're kind of like comparing yourself to, again, get that out of your head and compare yourself to everybody else. That's where that's the importance of you realizing that life is always going to be you against yourself.
Yeah.
You're always going to be your biggest enemy in life.
Biggest motivator too.
Exactly. So life is going to be what you make of it.
Yeah.
You can be either your biggest enemy or you can be your own hero in this life.
Yeah.
So don't lose hope. Don't be afraid of failure. Failure is essential to success. For me, failure is the most important. It's the most key recipe in the successes of life. And that's something that you can never lose. That's something that you can never let go of. So don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid of what people say about you, because at the end of the day, no matter what you do, people are going to judge you.
Yeah.
You can be super successful, people are going to judge you. You can be the biggest failure in the world, people are going to judge you. So I give a fuck about what people care about you.
Yeah.
You know, as long as what you do has purpose, is for the greater good, and is something that you truly believe is best for yours and the lives of others. The people at least around you that matter most to you.
Yeah.
Right, because at the end of the day, someone once told me, if you're not making someone else's life better, then you're kind of wasting your time. Right? You can't just live for yourself. You gotta be able to live not in the name of everybody else, but live for yourself and inspire others. Inspire others to be better, because you can never get enough inspiration, you can never get enough motivation, and enough hope, and enough faith. So at the end of the day, keep faith, don't be afraid to fail. And at the end of the day, who gives a damn what people say about you?
Yeah.
No matter what people are gonna judge.
Yeah, that's like the biggest thing, you can't let judgment get in the way of your journey, like you said. It's part of the journey,
Exactly.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the biggest thing. You gotta continue to have faith, and a lot of people don't understand that, some people don't wanna just some people just give up after they hit a certain point, but they gotta understand that success isn't given, it's earned. Right. You have to earn it, and success is rented every single day. Like that's how I view it. Like if I'm successful one day, like it's not gonna be there the next unless I keep working hard for it. Right. And that's a big thing.
Yeah, most definitely. It's most definitely. And success again, my biggest thing in life, the last thing I'll probably leave us with is life isn't fair. So for some people, success might be a little easier to reach or to achieve. Mm-hmm. For you, it might be like me, and you come from a small town, and you come from no resources, and you come to these obstacles that you gotta overcome. From a standpoint where you have to work harder physically, you have to work harder mentally, you have to make more connections. For some people, it's as easy as opening a door. For some people, it's as hard as climbing a mountain, right? Yeah. So life isn't fair, but instead of complaining about it, instead of dwelling it, do something about it. Make it happen. Okay, don't wait for it to happen. Make it happen. Okay. With that being said, just because life isn't fair doesn't mean that things are possible. So that's probably the last thing I'll probably do this with.
Yeah, that's a great way to wrap this up. Guys, that was thank you for saying all of that. It was really it was great. Talking about our struggles in life. About your struggles in life, how you've realized or how it's helped you better build as a person. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, guys, that's the end of today's video. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, subscribe to my Instagram. They'll be in the links in the description. And yeah, is there anything else you'd like to touch base on?
No, man, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Guys, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to follow the Instagram at Elite Wellness Pod.
This has been Hugo, guys, from Elite Wellness Podcast. Guys, follow, subscribe, guys. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate being the first I guess, official guest on.
Yeah, first official guest of the podcast.
All right, guys.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. See you guys.